Okay, so let's talk about the charting session of today, 2025, 29th July. So let's first about talk the second trade I took. As you can see here, let's first talk about the second trade. Okay, so let's first talk about the second trade. And today I was a little bit too much zoomed in, but that's not a problem. That was actually good. The price action was a little bit of something that end up taking me to the lower time frames where I can understand it much better. Okay, so let's first take a higher time frame look. So going into the day, the bias was a little bit clear to me. So as you can see, we are into a daily or fair value gap. Inside the daily fair value gap, we had swept the internal into the 1 hour time frame. We had this fair value gap. Okay, and in this fair value gap, the most important level was this stops area. This stops area means this is where lots of imbalance were stacked together, as you can see here. So this was an important level to me inside the fair fair value gap. This is considering me. This is how I'm getting that when you have a level, what is the most important level? Okay, this is a fair value gap, and you would like to see inside this fair value gap which area is having more sellers, buyers, or having more, you know, having more imbalances. Those are the important, those are the levels you would like to get remembered. Okay, so my idea is too simple. If this get disrespected, I can look to see price go push to the upside. If it getting respected, I can look to see price go displaced to the downside, most possibly into this 1 hour sell side liquidity. Now let's first talk about the second trade under the 5 minute time frame. Into this 5 minute time frame here. Okay, we end up sweeping this 15-minute low, but in the 1 minute we didn't had any form of divergences or anything, so we still had to sweep the internal. So my idea is to see that we can still look to see price come for this internal sweep. Okay, this was my idea. So my idea is to where we can see it come, we need some form of high time frame level. There was nothing in the 15 minute. I saw this fair value gap in the 5 minute. Okay, again the same thing. If you look at the 5 minute time frame, inside this fair value gap you see a lots of selling happening, and you can also see there is in this fair value gap candle, this is where lots of selling happen. So I still would like to see that price break through this to consider us go push to the upside, right? Or still we can see like price until and unless 5 minute closes through this. Sometimes you're gonna see that closes through and end up coming back. Okay, in this case you see, okay, prices close through that, but we are kind of respecting that and displacing lower. So this is how I can, besides the PY, I can get which are the levels those are important. So from here I'm going to the 30-second time frame. Here's the 30-second time frame. Okay, now what am I looking to see in the 30-second time frame? I was actually having divergence in delta. Okay, I was actually having divergence in delta with these highs, but still we end up sweeping internal. Now as we have swept internal, I really don't care about what the divergence is telling me or not. I just want to see my proper model play out, and I take that trade accordingly. Okay, so what's end up happening, we end up sweeping internal and we end up breaking through this big fair value gap. Now if delta wise I have taken this trade out of this fair value gap, put my stop above this time, I would most possibly get uh, I most possibly gonna had a break even, but I didn't. I actually wait for the displacement, and as you can see the displacement came simple. As you can see below this candle, I see this heavy big fair value gap. Big fair value gap equals to big displacement. Now everything is confirmed here. Okay, now accordingly, now it's time for me to meet my checklist perfectly. Okay, so let's go to one by one out of the checklist and how it met. First of all, structure and visual idea. I'm seeing this a perfect internal sweep. The shift in structure is completely present in there, and then I'm also seeing displacement. And if I open up that footprint chart, as you can see here, during the displacement, before the displacement happened, I'm seeing there is a lots of red colors, heavy red dark colors, means there is aggressive sellers into the market. And after that we actually end up having our what, displacement. This is a general rule of thumb, this is general idea. And then I end up seeing a stacked imbalance. Three of them are here, and these are stops because they have a zero. And besides that, I'm seeing the sellers are accepting lower prices. So most possibly structure checked, displacement checked, imbalance checked, and volume profile. Okay, if I look at my profile, I would like to see that besides this high volume, I would like to see according to the volume that there is some specific levels, and we break through those specific volume zones as well. So as you can see, we end up breaking through this high volume. This is the level at this 115,311. At this level we had broke through, we had the most amount of volume traded, and we actually had broke through during a displacement. Everything is looking fine, but why then we end up breaking through this? There was a key thing that was not in there, and that was volume. Volume means besides everything, sometimes small participations, when you're in such 30-second time frame, small participations can also cause these things very good. Okay, there was not much liquidity, so anybody who was doing this might have caused this push to the downside. Now if you look at the volume, I am not seeing any sort of exponential volume coming into the market. My idea is to look is that besides structure and imbalance, I would like to see a volume, because this is general idea, this is a complete normal idea, that when I'm looking a displacement is happening, why should not be there heavy volume? There should be heavy volume, means there should be participants. This volume will show you that participation is coming willingly. That means that these sellers are coming in heavy number, they are accepting lower prices, they are trading the volume. Okay, the volume is coming. Okay, they're getting liquidity, they are displacing, they're aggressively, like everything is compiled here. Besides structure and thing, imbalancing and the colors are showing me the participation of aggressiveness into the market. Stops are getting triggered. That means anybody who has longed here, what do you actually see? They're longing here. Anybody who is long here getting stopped out. People who have already shorted here are getting stopped out because their buy stops are getting hit. Right? This is the importance of manipulation. This is why you call. So in this push, I would like to see people get stopped out. And imbalance is actually showing me that with the zeros and colors and everything. Besides that, I want to see volume. There has to be, when there is a levels getting broken, this is a normal idea to say there has to be a volume. But how? I'm using this indicator to understand the volume. This red line, this yellow line here is actually giving you an average volume idea over the period of time. What's the average volume getting traded? But I don't want to see any average volume. I want to see something exponential, something better, something bigger. But there is nothing here happened. None of this volume was able to surpass above the average trading volume. So by this time, you have to understand this might be a fake out, which is a fake out. You see, it end up actually breaking through. So how I actually have to wait, how I actually have to make this trade better? As there is no volume confirmed, I'm waiting. I'm still waiting, even though everything has worked out. I'm waiting. How am I waiting? I'm waiting. Okay, let's sit there. Possibly the this volume might come later, means okay, I'm waiting. So let's cause the scenario something like this. We are having shallow displacement, shallow pullback to the upside, and after some time, as we enter into this order block, I see again us displacing lower, and this time with volume. Now this time the volume also confirmed it, but a little bit later. Now once it confirmed, now I can look to a higher time frame, or maybe look some other entries into this, and this time it's a little bit more confirmed. As the shift in structure happened, we are expecting and again displacing, we are taking a continuation entry with volume confirmed, taking a continuation entry with volume confirmed. Okay, so exactly everything was right, but the key importance is imbalances and volume picked up. This is a very important thing. Okay, besides structures and everything, I would like to see that sellers come into the market. Sometimes you're gonna see exhaustions and everything, but those are normal context. Okay, there are few things that you should always have. Those are necessary, and there are some things that provide you context to give you a little bit more confidence. And these colors, like this is a general thumb. If there is not heavy selling, this displacement will not come into the first place. So when the displacement is happened, it's automatically confirming there is heavy sellers who are selling into the market. Now besides the fair value gap, I would like to see there is heavy imbalance come into the market that will exponentially show the sellers is much more heavier than the buyers, and stops are getting triggered as well. This is a very important thing. This is why watching the imbalance is very important. And besides that, the most crucial thing over the period of time, I found out that the volume, I was actually looking to implement the volume for a long time, but I wasn't actually getting any idea that how am I supposed to get into this volume. But as learning, through the learning, I'm actually getting out that how should we actually implement the volume. This is a general rule of thumb. Okay, now if you look at the normal volume, okay, these candles are up and everything, you're not gonna make it happen. You have to have some form of threshold. Out of the threshold, you need to measure your volume and give uh, confidence and give context upon onto that, right? You need some form of threshold. You just can't say that okay, volume is pushing higher, that means good. No, I we are not doing it that way. Okay, like here, if I'm saying okay, as the displacement is coming, I'm seeing the volume exponentially going higher. No, it's not something like that. I would like to see exponential volume comes through candle by candle. Like traditional footprint charts usually have three section below, where you see first volume, you see delta, and you see cumulative delta. In that volume section, you see dark colors, which actually compiles there is a heavy volume or not. So in order to understand that, as in trading view you don't get that, I'm using this volume profile. I'm using this volume indicator in in the as I don't have that, so in exchange I'm using this one. This one is also working out pretty good. Now in this trade, there was a key thing was missed, and that's not having exponential volume. Okay, structure, imbalance, everything met, but besides that, it's not showing the participations that it need to confirm a shift in structure. Okay, and now I'm going to the first trade that I took. It's a break even trade, but look how, what's the difference. So in the same thing, actually, what exactly ended up happening, this is the 5 minute high that went into the fair value 1 hour fair value gap here, but we are not having any stop rates. Okay, so I had an idea that we might go for a stop rate, and yeah, so I wanted to see some form of level, which was a 5 minute fair value gap up here, down here, and it was having a very important level down here. It was having some really nice buy side imbalances, so-called zeros as well, which is showing you stops. Okay, so here what do you see? Internal sweep, displacement above higher, nice big candle with a medium size nice fair value gap. So structure complete, displacement complete. Looking at the footprint charts, just look at it. Heavy dark red colors at the top. Sellers are accepting higher prices. Sorry, buyers, I'm sorry. Sellers will sell at the higher price. That's a normal thing. Minus to see dark green colors. Look at this. Buyers are accepting higher prices, and see this dark color. See, in this displacement candle, I'm seeing heavy buyers coming in. That's one thing. Then I'm seeing, you see these stacked imbalances together. That's a huge uh, context behind the displacement. There is heavy selling. Now displacement and heavy selling is getting confirmed by here, but the participation that it needs to confirm that it's gonna continue will come through the volume. Here if you look at this, you sometimes you can look, okay, at the extreme you are seeing some selling imbalances, which kind after that having a displacement and market structure shift kind of says that okay, there is what do you say, exhaustion. These are contexts, normal context, no problem. I'm seeing in this candle there is not much of a buying, but in this displacement candle there's a lots of buying happening. In this particular candle I'm seeing lots of selling, but even though there is a lots of selling, we end up lots of imbalances as well, but we end up doing the shift. So that's another context of absorption. Okay, these are context. Besides that, now the main thing after the imbalance and everything, and you're gonna see we actually had the displacement. I'm sorry, the displacement was coming out of the high volume traded. And that means this is where the high volume was traded, and after that the displacement came. That's a volume profile context. Besides that, if you look at the volume profile, you look at the volume, what do you see? At this candle, I'm seeing a green color, and there's three colors in here. This one is blue, which is good. Red, green is just perfect, and red means sometimes if there is enough expansion, that shows if there is enough expansion coming with the red color, that means that's so good. But if not coming, it can sometimes show you absorption, and exactly what ended up happening. As from the colors, I told you that there's a loss of heavy selling, but we end up doing the shift that's showing the absorption. Here in the volume, you're looking the same thing. There's a lots of heavy volume selling, but where is the expansion? We end up actually having the shift in structure, confirming what? Absorption. So both are getting confirmed. That's a very good thing. One is one absorption idea, this context of absorption you got from the footprint charts alongside with the volume as well. But my idea is not to look at, okay, volume is exponentially going up or down, the traditional things going up, going down. No, I'm not saying that's bad, but I don't use it that way. My idea is to see it in a different way. My idea is to see when I'm seeing the displacement is happening for that particular candle or the particular candles, I would like to see that they trade above the volume, above the average volume, and these colors will show their strength. In this case, I'm seeing a green, which means it's perfect. We had this massive push to the upside, but in this trade, so everything was right. Structure checked, displacement checked, imbalance checked, volume profile checked, volume picked up checked, and context was absorption behind it. The absorption was seen through it, so it was in context. Okay, so now my idea is to enter into the trade. Simple as that. Now my idea is to just for the entry, just low, high, low, low, high, high. I'm gonna enter out of this. Now I'm gonna enter out of this breaker block. I'm not looking much of here, there, or anything. I just want to see an entry out of this breaker block. Okay, but there's a problem end up happening in this trade. Actually, this could be a winning trade, but let me tell you what is end up actually happening here. This could be a nice 2.44 hour win trade, but I actually end up break even into this trade. The idea was into this trade was, this was my low hanging fruit. I would have taken 90% out of here, then let the trade go all the way up in the stop rate. Now what ended up happening, that when I was actually placing my limit order, that's when I end up placing market order. So I actually end up taking this trade to all the way up. Where is that? I end up taking this trade all the way up here. So in order to, in then I really didn't close that position or anything. So I was just when this candle came, and I was actually, so I end up taking this trade up here, and because of that the RR got a little bit skewed, and that's when I, instead of taking my trade out of here, I was actually managing this trade, and through managing I end up into the break even. I'll come into it, but I was actually looking to see, like, sometimes if there is any better way to enter into this trade. Yeah, this is a good thing. You see, this is this is the order block, this is my breaker block area. Okay, and here I would like to see buying imbalances maybe, or anything that can, if near first of all I'm gonna take the trade out of here. But if I'm seeing buying imbalances, something like this can give you a little bit more precise entry, like you're seeing zeros and everything. Now here I can take the trade, as here, as you can see that they are completely aligning this heavy imbalances here, and this breaker block. So this is giving you a very good context that this is a very good area to buy. Okay, usually I take the trade out of the breaker block, but in this breaker block area, let's say that I am seeing some exponential zero here. So for that, maybe not from here, I'm gonna take the trade a little bit down here, or maybe not. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, it's not going to be something super, but my idea is to see whenever there is everything happened in the entry, I really don't skew a lot of things. But if I'm seeing delta divergences, then I would look to see, our level get broken, and maybe I would look to see through the footprint, where are the zeros, so I can get a little bit better entry. But when there is a proper shift in structure, I just would take the trade out of the breaker block. So that's a very beautiful area, because this is where the absorption happened, and this is where I'm taking the trade. And besides, if I'm seeing in the breaker block area, I'm seeing buying imbalances, zeros, something like that. They are uh, early signs of their early context of, okay, this is a very good place to buy. Now in this trade, I end up taking trade all the way up here. So a small mistake, and I end up taking the trade all the way up here. I put my TP up here because I was getting a 2 order there as I entered into the trade. Then I thought of managing this trade. So what is that happening? I was waiting for us to go high above this high, break through this high, so this will become our order block. I took it. Then what ended up happening is I broke through that. I put my stop below this low, and secondly, this candle came into this order block and I closed above that. Now what this candles becomes, this becomes a propulsion block. So price have to, here, the moment price comes here, it doesn't gonna take a lots of time. It's gonna always gonna respect the 50% of that, and price gonna boom. If that's not happening, there's something wrong. So what I did, I went complete break even in this, and as you can see, price took some time and we break through this. And here we are also having a delta divergence. It's coming out of the delta, as I've already said, that when there is a delta divergence, either I'm going break even or I'm taking everything off. Because I was already at break even, I didn't took out anything. I just waited, and there was the delta divergence here. We had the divergence, and in the propulsion block, I was already break even, so I was just waiting to see if this propulsion block get respected. If it was got respected, then I can definitely see us go push to the upside. It didn't got respected, end up displacing to the downside. So this trade is a complete perfect A plus trade. Everything was nice, but as the delta divergence came, we got fucked up. But in this trade, a very important thing was missing, which is the context of volume, because I am seeing that everything is working, but there is not enough volume. That means, where are the participants? Where are the participants? And I'm seeing that everything is happening, but there is not volume. How could this be, that everything happening but there is not volume? There has to be volume as everything is happening. If they are not, I'll wait for further confirmation. Like in this case, if I waited for the further confirmation, I would definitely not get stopped out. So that's it. So this was the two trades for today's New York AM session. I didn't take anything in the New York London session. Uh, so this trade was a perfect trade, and this one a little bit, I would say this is a very good trade actually as well, because I'm actually adapting these concepts recently. So it's very important for me to take these losses, because if I don't take these losses, then I would not be able to understand the dynamics. So I have to take these losses. So maybe I'm gonna have a lot of losses upcoming, but those losses gonna teach me some very crucial things about this checklist of mine, that which are more important, how they should work out and everything. So it should not be a winning streak, this should be a losing streak, and from those losing streaks I would definitely will be able to understand a lot about this checklist. So this is it. I hope I didn't miss out anything. Checklist, model, everything. So okay, that's it for the session.